Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to another video in our channel. So today I'm here with you to go over academic writing of IELTS. I have decided to divide all these tasks, types of writing, because writing of IELTS is a very expansive area and it has a lot to be covered. So here I have covered the task 1 of the writing and only the trend part of that task, because there are a lot of pictures that you need to write about. It's a pictorial description, task 1. It requires you to write 150 words and you need to describe a picture that you see. And that picture is not like a picture of a landscape, it's a picture of something that you need to describe statistically, numerically and everything. So it gives you a pie chart or a line graph or something academic. So yeah, this one is about trends, and trends are basically line graphs and line charts that have to do with changes that happen over a period of time. For example, 1970 to 2020, like the rise and fall of the prices of a particular product or oil, anything. So this video only specifically is going to be covering that type of picture and not the other types, and the other types will be covered in the other videos in the future. These are the 4 criteria that you will be assessed based on. The first one is task achievement. It's being able to follow the instructions properly, being able to write a clear, accurate, and relevant description of the information, and being able to focus on the important trends presented as graphic information. So basically is you taking care of what the task wants you to do, and basically, kind of acing at that determines your task achievement score, which is from 0 to 9. Coherence and cohesion is basically the connectivity of your sentences, how you connect your sentences. Here it says being able to organize your writing using a suitable structure, using connective words to link sentences and paragraphs logically. And if you've seen, sometimes if there's a contrasting sentence, we use the word however. On the other hand, or if there's a similarity, we use similarly or likewise. These are the linking devices that you use in order to connect your sentences together. Lexical resource basically is a fancy word for vocabulary. It's like how much your vocabulary is worth. Being able to use a wide range of vocabulary naturally, being able to spell accurately, and using the appropriate word formation. Grammatical range and accuracy, the meaning is self-explanatory. Grammatical range is how many grammatical sentences you can use and how much the accuracy is. So using the appropriate grammatical structures accurately, using a variety of sentence structures. So basically this requires its own long video. We're not going to get into this, so this is the summary. I hope that makes sense, but you don't have to worry too much about it, because we're going to go to how to take care of a task 1 pictorial trend. Alright, so the general format for writing academic writing task 1 is this. So here we have the introduction, which is the first paragraph, basic/general trends, which I will explain, and then there's details description, and there's a conclusion, which is optional. We'll talk about all of it later. So this is the formula. You're gonna have to remember this one. We have the introduction, basic trends or general trends. Remember the word general trends, and details description. So what you have to do basically is, if you take a look at this picture before we go back to the previous picture, is this is something that you're given in the exam, right? This is the picture, and then you see this prompt which gives you some explanation of as to what it is. So it says the graph below shows the percentage of part-time workers in each country of the United Kingdom in 1980 and 2010. So yeah, okay, we get it, and this is the explanation, and it tells you this is the task. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So, and you have to write at least 150 words, and you have 20 minutes to write a academic writing task 1. So we see these columns right here. We see the numerical percentages here, 40%, 0 to 40%, and we have the countries England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, and we have these 2 colors representative of 2 different years, 2010 and 1980, and the percentage of part-time workers in each of the country of the United Kingdom. So we have to write something about it, right? So what you do is, in the first paragraph, you forget about whatever it is, you just immediately look at what the prompt has been given. prompt is this sentence right here. The very first thing you need to do is to paraphrase the sentence or the prompt that you're given in your own words. So which means that you change some of the words, you kind of paraphrase the grammatical structure of the sentence so that it doesn't sound or look the same thing. So it's not just a mere copy paste of whatever has been written here. So how can we paraphrase this sentence? Like, what do we do with the graph, show, percentage? If you take a look at the previous page, I've provided a template that you can go with in order to paraphrase the very beginning of your the prompt. So you can use the word starting words like the given, the supplied, the presented, the shown. It doesn't matter which one you use, they're all the same. And the presentation type, which is really important because you have to pay attention. Some of the presentation types are not the same, like diagram, table, figure, illustration. Some of them are the same because illustration, figure, and diagram or picture, they all mean the same thing. But a table is only a table. So for this picture right here, we can't use a table because it is not a table. Well, that is very obvious. So for this picture, we use the word graph or figure or illustration. For the verb, we use these. Well, some of them have very different meanings. I'm not going to go through them together because it takes a long time, but many of them are synonymous, like shows, represents, depicts, enumerates, illustrates, presents. And what does it do? Like, does it talk about the comparison, the differences, the changes? And of course, that is dependent on what the picture is. So for this picture right here, instead of writing the graph, we can write the illustration, or for example, the diagram below shows. Instead of the word show, we can say represents or illustrates or displays the percentage of part-time workers and the rest, right? So the very beginning has been given as a template. Of course, you can change like basically everything in the sentence. You can write about, like, for example, the given illustration gives data on the percentage of part-time employees instead of workers in each country or in each nation of the United Kingdom, for example, in 1980 and 2010. So it's basically like a adequate paraphrasing of what has been given here. So that is the first thing you do. One, you take a look at the prompt and then you paraphrase it in your own words. And this picture right here kind of helps you use the words in the very beginning. These are some examples of paraphrased prompts. The provided diagram, see the provided, the given, the supplied. You can use these startings. The provided diagram shows data on employment categories in energy producing sectors, blah, blah, blah. The given pie charts represents. The chart gives information. The supplied bar graph compares the number of blah, blah. The bar graph and the table data depict the water, blah, blah. So the first ability needs to be you paraphrasing the prompt that you're given. Right after you're finished with the paraphrasing, you're going to have to take care of something that is called a general statement or general trend. The general statement is the first sentence or two sentences you write in your reporting. It should always deal with what it is, where it is, and when it is. So, like the example here is the diagrams present information on the percentages of teachers who has expressed their views on different problems they face when dealing with children in 3 Australian schools from 2001 to 2005. So basically, right after paraphrasing, your next sentence or sentences need to be about, like, briefly talking about what you see in the picture. It has to do with what it is, where it is, and when it is, right? But you're not supposed to write about the numerics and the numbers and percentages. You're not supposed to go into the details, but that's why we call it a general statement, because it's a general view of the entire picture. There are some examples here. I've provided some kind of prefabricated words you can use in the very beginning of your general trend, like in general, in common, generally speaking, overall. So you can begin your sentence using these. And there are some examples such as, in general, the employment opportunity has increased till 1970, as is observed, generally speaking, as an overall trend, blah, blah. So there are a lot of sentences that you can take a look at in order to kind of get an inspiration from them and kind of copy them. It's okay if you copy many of the sentences, like if you're just starting out to write IELTS content. It's okay if you read others' writing samples and then kind of get an inspiration from them, like basically copy what they have written and apply them in your writing. It's okay, but that shouldn't continue. As you progress, you should generate your own sentences. But at the very beginning, using them is perfectly fine. Well, I don't condone it, but I say that it's perfectly fine to use them since you are like starting out. There's some tips about the general trend here. Write the introduction and general trend in the same paragraph. You can write them in two separate paragraphs, but it is better to write in the same paragraph unless you have a really good reason to write the general trend in the second paragraph. Try to write them both in the first paragraph. So it's really easy, a lot easier to look at, a lot easier to organize. So write the paraphrase and the introduction, the general trend in the first paragraph that is considered your introduction. So your introduction is your general statement, well, the paraphrasing and the general statement. Do not give numbers, percentages, or quantity in your general trend. So rather give the most striking features of the graph that could easily be understood at a glance. So you just basically, general trend is like you looking at the picture, just very quickly looking at it and then write it, what do you see? So you don't go to the details. You don't write any numbers or percentages. Take a look at this example that is wrong. A glance at the graphs reveals that 70% of male were employed in 2001, while 40,000 women in this year had jobs. So 40,000, 70%, we've gone into the details. We shouldn't. In general trend part, we don't. And the correct version of this would be, a glance at the graphs reveals that more men were employed than their female counterpart in 2010, and almost 2/3 females were jobless in the same year. Alright, so for writing the, after we're finished with the introduction, we go to the body and we have to talk about what changes we see. So as I told you, we write the changes that have been happening in a graph. Like for example, the sale, like the increase and decrease of a particular product in sales or anything basically. So we have these trends that go up. We call them increase, go down and decrease, steadiness when things don't change, or standability when things kind of flat out. Like for example, it has been fluctuating and then just flats out and doesn't move a lot. So there are a lot of trends here, and we have the verb form and the noun form of these things. We have rise, increase, go up, uplift, rocket, climb, upsurge, and we have the noun form too, which I will tell you why we have the noun form and verb form, because we can generate two possible sentences for either of them. So we have these four decrees. I'm not going to read them. You can see them yourself very easily. If you want to talk about a decreasing trend, you can use these. Steadiness when things don't change, you can use these. Gradual increase and gradual decrease are basically increase and decrease, but they're like gradual. We're going to talk about the adjectives later. And standability or flat when things level off. For example, things have been like going down like this and then just level off. Just don't move a lot. There are some examples here, like the overall sale of the company has increased by 20% at the end of the year. The expenditure of the office remained constant for the last 6 months. So remained constant, increased by 20%. There was a 15% drop. The population of the country remained almost the same. So these are all trends. And there's a kind of a illustration that kind of represents what they look like. There's a decrease, steadiness, no change, increase, gradual decrease, rapid increase, rapid decrease. So you see, these are both decreases, right? But this is a gradual decrease. This is a rapid decrease. And this adjective here plays an important part also in your writing, because you have to describe what type of trend is happening or has happened. Those types of trend, like the degree of the trend, which because we have the increase, right? This is the increase, this is an increase, but the degree at which they change is very, very different, because we have rapid changes, something that is too sharp. Like we use them dramatic, rapid, sharp, quick, hurried, speedy, but there's moderate, moderately, gradually. For example, we say that the sale of for example, the sale of the company's products rose rapidly, rose moderately, rose steadily. So these are all rises, but at different levels. So it depends on if it's a rapid like increase, like crazy, almost vertical increase, or like a very steady increase that, you know, kind of is not a very sharp one. So these are the words, and this is for rapid ups and downs. So you can use when things just go up and down like crazy like this. When things fluctuate, we consider the whole fluctuation as rapid ups and downs. For example, you see like a lot of ups and downs between like 10 years. You don't talk about increased here, decreased here, increased here, decreased here. You don't talk about them each individually because it's rather redundant. You just consider the whole period as a fluctuation. And there are some examples that you can see. The economic inflation of the country increased sharply. There was a sharp drop. The demand for new houses dramatically increased. So not just increased, dramatically increased. So when you say dramatic, you're kind of suggesting that the increase has been really sharp. Of course, you would have to kind of talk about the numerical changes as well. There's an example. So there's an example with a whole sample that have been provided here. So we have the picture, we have the prompt. The graph shows the number of visitors for 4 international museums between 1980 and 2015. Okay, so we have the vertical line and the horizontal line indicating what is that number of visitors, millions. So these numbers are millions, 2, 4, 6, all the way to 10 million. And we have 1980 to 2015. And we have these numbers representative of Louvre Museum, London Science Museum, Vatican Museum, and Shenzhen Museums. And we have to take care of this in 150 words minimum in 20 minutes. So take a look at this example here. The line graph shows how many people visited 4 museums in different countries in the world between 1980 and 2015. So what is this line? This is a paraphrase of this. So the line graph, the graph shows, well, of course, it should have kind of, chosen a better word, not a better word, a different word than shows. Like you could have said the line graph represents or delineates how many people visited 4 museums and so on. So don't keep the words the same, change them. And here, this is a general trend. All in all, the Louvre Museum was the most popular with between approximately 8 and 9 million visitors each year. So this is basically a trend, a general trend that you write about the picture. And these are the details of what the picture is. So like if you see the number of visitors to the London Science Museum decreased slowly. So the trend is decreasing, and the slow is the adjective or the adverb that has been used here. So the visitors to the Vatican Museum increased from just under 5 million in 1980 to around 9 million in 2015. So you see that these are the details of the picture, and this is a general trend plus the paraphrasing. So this was a very fast coverage of the whole writing, trend writing. So trend is this, like, let me simplify it for you. This is a trend. Trend is when changes happen. You see that, for example, number of visitors to the international museums, for example, number of visitors from 1980 to Louvre Museum between 1980 to 2015 has changed, right? So it has been increasing very, very, very slowly, and then it has a sharper increase. Here, there's been a decrease in the attendance of visitors. So there are a lot of changes that have happened. You have to write about what changes have been happening, where, when, and how much, and talk about the degree of changes, not just increase and decrease. There are other words you can use. There is plummet, there is go down, there is go up, there is like rocket. You can also use the adjectives to talk about, like, for example, moderate or drastic or dramatic, to talk about the changes, the degree of the changes. And just to summarize everything, the first thing you do is paraphrase this. The second thing you do is to write a general trend without mentioning the numbers or the numerics. And the third thing you do, you talk about the details with with the words, with increasing, decreasing, plummeting, not changing. And you also talk about when it happens and how much they've happened. I suggest you go around and look at other people's samples, writing samples, and take a look at what people have done. Preferably those who've gotten a really high score, like 7.5 plus, and take a look at how they've written and get inspirations from them, and start doing your own writing exercises. And I promise you, the task 1 trend writing for you will be much, much, much easier in the future. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do it right now. We will be uploading English learning videos, and I will be continuing to upload these IELTS related videos to help you guys with your self-studies. So please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe right now, and make sure you like the video. It helps us with the algorithm in YouTube. It helps us with, well, it gives us a lot of motivation to actually put better content. All right, thank you very much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Good luck.